to episode 5, first ever. One of our founding members, Mr. Clayton, name unsaid, is not available. And so,
it's cold. But
we're here with Mike and Mayor and a special guest, Mrs. Mike, not
Mrs.
Mike's, Mrs.
Almost
like a grand Mike, if you will.
That didn't come
I don't know where this is going, but I always call her mom.
I'm trying to say, because here's the situation. It's Mike's mom. I'm trying to say it in a way that doesn't give away any last names or any.
Oh, Diane.
Easy. Momster.
Like
Special guest Diane.
The momster.
Special guest Diane, the momster. There we go. That's good. I'm friends with the momster inside of my. Okay, so anyway, we were talking before we went live, guys.
See?
We were all
I'm
talking about the fact that you know, parents sometimes talk weird. You never hear a kid say something. I'll give you an example. So you're like, you cut your legs off in that lawnmower. Don't you come running to me. that I think having children, you know, it does things. So here anyway, we are going to do Mr. Monk and the Candidate. If you want to follow along in the transcript, it might take you a little bit to find it because we had to dig. How long did it take us, Mike, to dig for this one?
About 25 minutes, maybe. Oh God.
It took a while.
About 25, 30 minutes digging.
25, 30 minutes. But if you want to go to it, I believe it's the very first Monk episode ever screened. Is that true, Mayor? Give us a little history on this episode, Mayor. Mayor's going to give us a history of this. Mayor's going to give us just give us a basic summary of what is Monk, Mayor. Can you set it up for our listeners, all two of them?
Some sort of comedy TV show about a
OCD.
a cop. Is he a cop or some kind of PI or something like that?
He's like a PI, isn't he? I think he's a PI.
He was a cop, but he got disbarred for his OCD-ness.
Well, he's on leave. He's on leave. Medical
obsessive compulsive.
Obsessive compulsive.
He's on medical
leave.
And
that is a real disease. That is a real disease. Yeah.
It really is.
So, yeah, OCD, not a fun thing, you know. One day you're living your life. Next thing you wake up, you're like, I gotta organize all these shoes. So, not something to mock, I'm sure.
Nope.
And
yeah,
so
I was actually recently watching a sort of scientific sort of talk video about some of the like physiological causes to OCD, and it can actually be attributed to a part of the brain.
Really?
That doesn't fire properly, and it has to do with like the motor cortex, like all kinds of stuff, and it's really interesting. Really interesting.
Gosh.
It's like it gets stuck. You know?
Yeah, I believe it. People that think mental disability is something to screw around with, it is not. I have ADHD, and they took me to the doctor when I was a little kid. True story. And my mom, you know, the doctor's like, we need to medicate this boy. And my mom's like, okay, well, no. Sorry. So every time I used to get hyperactive and crazy, you know, my mom's like, you know what, instead of giving me drugs, why don't we like make him run outside? And I still have the disability, but then eventually I started banging on the piano, and mom's like, well, as long as he's banging on the piano to get rid of all the stress, we might as well give him lessons. And now I teach music for a living. So, true story.
Best musician I have ever met. Best musician.
No. But what I'm saying, all I'm trying to say is that if you are out there and you have a disability, hopefully Monk is way more inspiring than someone like me, because Monk is actually like has a good story. Like, wait, are we? Is that My Sharona?
No,
that's not what we
no.
This is the theme song. This has something to do with art. Mr. Monk and the Candidate, transcript by Kim Robarts, ripped off the DVD subtitles.
That was an accident.
Opening scene.
Hey, Josh, that was an accident. I wasn't trying to cut you off. Sorry.
No, dude, it's okay. It's all good, man. I'm having a blast. An apartment is the first scene we ever witnessed the detective Adrian Monk doing his thing. Standing in his hospital booties to keep the floor pristine. In fact, so is everyone there. He stands there, like, put it on a show for the attending cops, looking around the room of the murder victim, who is still lying on her stomach on the floor in a pool of blood. Nicole Vasquez. He looks up and down, trying to size up what he sees. The cops are breathless with anticipation. and there is tension in the air when finally Mr. Monk, played by Diane, at last speaks.
The stove.
You need to put more pizzazz in that. That's your line.
That's how he talks.
Yeah, that's her first opening line. You
Okay.
The stove.
The stove. Over here. It's in the kitchen.
No. I mean my stove. I think I left it on.
Sharona.
It's okay. I checked it as we were leaving.
Are you sure?
Perfect.
Did you turn the knob?
The stove, yeah.
The little knob, though.
His attending nurse and friend, Sharon Fleming, interesting name, looks mildly embarrassed. A part of her wishes he could once forget the insignificant details for the more important ones at hand, but she knows that will never happen.
I turned all the knobs. The stove is off, Adrian.
Excuse me, sir. We believe it was a burglary gone sour. She walked in.
No, that's Mike's line.
Sorry.
Oops, sorry.
Excuse me, sir. We believe it was a
That's strike one. I'm just kidding. It's all good.
Well, I never. Excuse me, sir. We believe it was a burglary gone sour. She walked in, surprised him. He panicked.
No. This was no burglary.
It wasn't?
He tried to make it look like one, but this guy was cold as ice.
Now Sharona looks clearly impressed by how the others stand in awe of the detective. This is the man she wants everyone to see.
He wore her slippers to avoid leaving shoe prints. Not something your neighborhood crackhead is going to do.
Adrian becomes obsessed with the gooseneck lamp near the window. He begins pawing it continuously with his fingers. The others seem confused by his actions.
Adrian.
Yo, Adrian! Oh, wrong movie.
Adrian!
He was in here. He was waiting.
Waiting for what?
Shoot.
No, what are you doing?
I'm looking for my line.
Right here. Look. See these little arrows? You can. Oh my god.
You know, for her. He was in here at least an hour. He was smoking. You can still smell it on the curtains.
He goes over and takes one of the curtains over the end of his pen to examine it.
Menthols. Salem's. Possibly Newports.
Maybe she was the smoker.
No. She was a Dutch Calvinist. They don't smoke. They consider their bodies to be holy. A holy chalice of... Sorry, I'm having trouble concentrating because I think I smell gas.
He runs back over to Sharona. Suddenly sucked back to his previous concern, Sharona looks beside herself as she covers her mouth with her hand. She tries to remain calm. Adrian, on the other hand, is frantic.
Did you hear the click? You gotta hear the click. Not just feel the click, hear it.
She looks him straight in the eye and gives him a very clear look of anger. He caves at an indication that he's crossed the line and goes back to his previous train of thought.
Anyway, after he killed Miss...
Nicole Vasquez, 25.
Yeah, Miss Vasquez. He hung around. He was looking for something.
He was looking for what?
I don't know. He checked something on her computer. He could have erased a file.
Anything else?
Yes, he's tall. Because sometimes it goes out.
Sharona.
No, the pilot light is fine.
Do you remember the last time it almost went out?
Do you want me to dive back to the city and check?
No.
Is that what you're telling me to do?
Would you? Could you, that would be great.
Oh, excuse me, gentlemen. Just 1 second, okay?
Oh, Shay.
Just his nurse.
Forget about the damn stove, okay? You are on a job here. You're a private consultant.
I know, but I smelled it, and I think...
You gotta shut up. The department thinks you're nuts. You're never gonna get reinstated. You're never gonna get hired again, and we're both gonna be unemployed. Do you understand the importance of what I'm saying?
You've nailed that character.
Pull your twisted self together, concentrate, and be brilliant. You're brilliant.
His stride is back as he turns to the cop once more and immediately goes back into detective mode.
Excuse me, sir, but how do you know all that? I mean, about the computer?
Well, it's patently obvious, isn't it? There are no prints on the keyboard, not even here. Why? He used it. He wiped them clean.
Right. And you said that he was tall?
The victim's short, maybe 5'4". Look at the chair. It's lowered almost all the way.
Wow. We've been here all morning and nobody even noticed that.
Sir.
Oh, sir, can you stick around a bit? The coroner's on his way.
No,
Adrian always made a beeline for the door. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I gotta go. I'm pretty sure I smell gas.
I'm sorry, gentlemen. You know where to reach us.
That's you, Josh.
The cops just seem floored, not sure what to do, as now they have been abandoned. Well, that's the famous Adrian Monk.
Yeah, the living legend. If you call him that, living.
There's the opening credits. All right. Adrian is boiling his toothbrush and counting the strokes as he examines himself in the bathroom mirror. He's just wearing a white undershirt and getting started for the day. He has an appointment with his psychiatrist, Dr. Charles Kroger.
31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. Doc, I'm feeling great. Dr. Kroger, I'm doing great. Dr. Kroger?
He's vacuuming the ceiling of his house. He is rearranging his closet where practically all his shirts and suits are identical. He examines the police officer's uniform there. It's his, neatly wrapped and not touched since he last used it. He glances briefly at a picture of his wife in the hall, Trudy, who died tragically in a car bomb explosion. Now Adrian is standing in front of a full-length mirror and admiring himself as he pulls out a tiny container of dental floss. He continues to pep talk himself as he goes about his routine.
You can't. You can't sweat the small stuff. Just keep going with the flow. It's a new me. It's a whole new time. And thanks to you, I owe it all to you. I feel like I'm back in the saddle. Took your advice. Doc, I'm going with the flow.
Dr. Kroger's beautiful Japanese-inspired offices. The interior has lofted ceilings, smoky gray wall, and two chairs facing the tall windows where we can see a fountain and a small meditation garden beyond. Adrian sits across from his doctor on the right.
So, going with the flow. Good. Good for you.
Yeah, in Santa Clara. I have an old friend there who's a second lieutenant and called me in.
Well, how did that make you feel? I mean, you know, being called in.
It feels great. It feels like old times. Back in the saddle.
Well, do you think you're ready to go back full time?
Definitely. Absolutely. Do you think I'm ready? That's a question.
It is about then that the sofa gets to Adrian, or at least the pillow, which is sitting on an angle on the sofa. It's driving him to distraction. Dr. Kroger notices it as well.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
You keep looking at the pillow. How are you sleeping? Are you still having those dreams?
Well, Trudy and I were married for 7 years. It would be weird if, I never dreamt about her, right? You're testing me, aren't you? You left it like that on purpose.
Did I?
Okay. Yeah, so anyway, I've been feeling... Excuse me.
He can't take the pressure anymore and just has to straighten the pillow, which he does as he runs across the room, leaning on the sofa and tackling the pillow. Dr. Kroger just watches him silently and in shock.
Hold it. That one's just...
Now he begins fiddling with a completely new pillow until he's satisfied. Standing up, he twitches a bit, straightens his flower display briefly on a nearby coffee table before returning to his chair once more. Dr. Kroger looks on, speechless. Adrian sits down like nothing's wrong.
There. Then, okay, no big deal. Where were we?
Scene change. Warren St. Clair is giving a campaign speech outside in front of the local museum to the responsive crowd. The high platform is blanketed by bright red, white, and blue balloons on one side, and there is a band playing to get the crowd excited. Sitting behind Warren is his wife and his aides, including Gavin Lloyd, directing workers on how best to make the candidate look good on stage and making sure it all runs smoothly. The crowd cheers and applauds.
You people sound like you're ready for a change. Am I right? Or am I right?
The band doesn't start playing until the balloons go, okay? Right?
San Francisco has a simple decision to make.
Wait for my cue.
Do we tread water or do we move ahead? But hell, that's all right.
Hey, how we doing?
I'm getting lockjaw, Gavin. When can I stop smiling?
As my old man used to say,
I've seen Sacramento, Gavin. It's hardly the promised land.
Forget Sacramento. I'm talking about the White House.
and just remember, if you vote for me, you're getting 2 mayors for the price of 1. My wife, Miranda.
Warren holds out his hand to his wife, who stands up and joins him by his side. The crowd cheers even more and applauds again.
I'm not just talking the talk, I'm ready to walk the walk. Are you ready to walk with me?
Suddenly, there are shots heard from nearby, and everyone screams. On stage, Jason Ronstadt, the mayor's elect bodyguard, is hit, and he goes down. Everyone dives for cover. Warren shields his wife and hides off stage as bodyguards go into defense mode. Gavin assists him by running to the edge of the stage and pointing up to the nearby hotel. As he does, the photographer snaps a picture of him.
He's up there, up there.
The camera shutters clicks, and we see a shot of the man's next morning paper. Gavin is on the cover. Scene change. The office of Captain Leland Stottlemyre of the San Francisco Police Department. The phone hasn't stopped ringing all morning, and the stress is getting to him. He looks up at his chief officer, Lieutenant Randy Disher, comes running in. He's a young officer with a keen appreciation of his captain's skills. You can just sense it.
Oh my gosh, the keen sense, not just any sense. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I'll call you back. I'll call you back.
Not yet, just rah-rah stuff. He will not be silenced. He will not be intimidated.
He will be blaming us soon enough. Everybody does sooner or later.
Stottlemyre stands up, begins to pace the room nervously. He looks at Disher for inspiration.
We gotta make a statement too. Is the press here? Who's here?
The girl from Channel 3.
The pretty one?
No, the other one.
It's okay.
Good. Who do you want on camera?
Me, I'll do it. I think I'll reassure people to see me taking point. It'll be reassuring.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Anything on the shooter? Say yes.
The forensic boys are still on site, but nothing so far.
Oh, Sheldon Berger. Who let you off your leash?
I just came from the hospital. Bodyguard didn't make it. Mayor's on his way back from Sacramento. Look, I don't have to tell you, Captain. We're on a bus to hell. If we don't slam dunk this,
I understand.
it's gonna look like we're not trying here.
I'm not an idiot, Sheldon. I've got every available man on the case.
No, you don't. Mayor wants you to bring in your old friend.
Monk?
Scene change. The busy streets of San Francisco. Is driving along on her slightly older model station wagon, animatedly talking to Adrian while she does and not paying full attention to the road. Adrian can't help but notice the salient point and looks ready to jump from the car if necessary. He's frantically waving his arms as he watches the traffic buzz by him. He looks on the verge of a hernia. A horn blares.
Bus!
I still can't believe this. The mayor asked for you personally.
There's a bus on the right.
Oh, this is great. This is going to get you back on the force.
Adrian isn't noticing he's starting to fiddle with his seatbelt. He almost looks as if he's trying to bail out.
I already have a job, remember? The girl in Santa Clara? Merging. Everybody's merging.
You want to drive? You want to drive.
What lane are you in?
I'll sit there and yell and point and drive you nuts because you're driving me nuts, Adrian.
Sorry. It's red. Come on, it's red!
Sharona starts to screech. Scene change, a conference center. There is a gathering of reporters outside the tall modern building that glows with the sunshine coming in through the huge windows lining every wall. Stottlemyre and Disher are awaiting the arrival of Sharona and Adrian as they want to brief them before going in to meet with the mayor-elect and his staff. Sharona is chatting on the phone as she runs in the front door with Adrian.
Oops.
Be cool. No, not today. You can't today.
Well, look who's here, the detective.
Hello, Monk.
Captain.
Sharona?
Hi.
You look good. Dr. Kroger says you've been getting out some.
Oh, he is really doing great. I can't even keep up with him. Thanks.
Excellent. The candidate is waiting upstairs. I wanted to make this crystal clear. You're here because of the mayor. Because the mayor thinks you can walk on water. But you're a civilian now, Monk. When I'm in there, I talk. You say nothing. Understand?
They arrive on the second floor. Adrian looks a little worried at his condescending remarks.
Look, Monk. When I took your badge 3 years ago, I told you nothing would give me more pleasure than to see you reinstated. And I meant that. But you're obviously not ready.
He tried to touch Adrian's shoulder, but he stands off a little spooked, so Stottlemyre steps aside a bit. By this time, Adrian has thought of a rebuttal.
Is that you talking, or the uniform?
I am the uniform, Monk. You didn't understand me back when I was your watch commander.
And I'm sure you and Karen will work things out.
What did you say?
You and your wife. You're having some problems.
Disher looks curious, and so Stottlemyre tries to act surprised as well.
What are you talking about? Karen and I are fine. We're 100%.
Yes, sir. My mistake. Never been happier to be wrong.
Adrian and Sharona walk past the captain, finding satisfaction in getting the upper hand, when once more the captain stops him by quietly calling out to him.
Hey, Monk, come here.
How did you know that?
Okay. How did you know that?
You missed a spot shaving. Karen would have caught that. In your necktie, she always ties it for you. She used that double slip knot. Conclusion? You dressed yourself. And the Ramada Inn cup. Send her some. Roses, maybe.
When we get in there, you don't say anything.
Scene change. Interior of a large conference room. Surrounding the long conference table are much of Warren St. Clair's staff and his wife. The captain, Gavin Disher, Sharona, and Adrian are also in attendance. Adrian is standing near a large chart of the constituency of San Francisco marked off on tacks on the map. As he listens to the conversation, he begins to straighten up papers and soon starts fiddling with the chart itself. Gavin is animated as he starts to pace around the room.
We're 4 points behind with 10 days to go. I am not putting my man in a box.
Nobody wants to put anybody in a box, Mr. Lloyd. All I want to do is limit your public appearances and not announce your schedule in advance.
The mayor would love that. Maybe we should move the whole campaign and run it from the basement.
Gavin, that's not fair. The captain's just doing his job.
Mr. St. Clair, can you think of anybody who might wish him harm? Wish you harm, I mean? A disgruntled employee?
Or an ex-wife? Or an unofficial? I know a couple of ex-business partners who no longer send us Christmas cards. You boys and your work got out for you.
Well, in my opinion, a man who hasn't made any enemies hasn't done squat.
Is that me? Sorry. Okay. Jesse. Warren, you sure you want to go out there like this? Yeah, after yesterday? No one will blame you if you quit. Excuse me? We haven't been introduced. I'm sorry, who are you? Jesse Goodman. I work upstairs. Senior Vice President. Concerned friend.
I couldn't make this run if people weren't upstairs minding the store. Baby. Do you need that?
Yes, I do! Somebody tried to kill my husband yesterday, right in front of me!
Suddenly, the captain sees what's happening with Adrian in the tax and sees his career going out the window. Miranda and the others notice it too.
Monk!
Excuse me? What? What are you doing?
Oh my god, excuse me. That's color-coded by voting precinct. It took me 3 weeks to set this up.
Sorry.
Monk! Monk!
What department are you with?
Ma'am, this is...
Piggy.
Oh, gimme, kissy, kissy. Oh.
Okay. Ma'am, this is Adrian Monk. He's no longer with our department. He's a private consultant.
I'll put them all back the way they were.
No, you can't. You can't possibly know where everyone goes. Yes, he can.
It won't take too long. I'd take 1 second.
Sharona senses the worst and begs for him to let it go, screaming across the room.
Adrian, let go of the board.
The moment he does, there is the inevitable. A flurry of multicolored text sprinkle everywhere on top of the nearby table. Miranda looks shocked. Sharona covers her mouth, and Stottlemyre sees his future disappear. Scene change. Moments later, same scene, but this time we observe everyone seated back at the table. We catch a glimpse of Adrian's hand reaching into a nearby bowl for some tacks as he methodically begins placing them back on the chart. The others talk about him, but he doesn't hear a word they say. It's almost like he's not in the room.
Captain, you said he's no longer with the department?
He was given a 315 psychological discharge.
It's a temporary suspension.
It's a temporary suspension. Psychological discharge.
Someone tried to kill my husband, and you send in Rain Man?
Ma'am, we're having Adrian Monk assist us on the case, and an indication of just how serious we are taking this case.
Is he, No. It's a form of anxiety disorder. A severe case like this is usually triggered by a single traumatic incident. His wife was murdered 4 years ago. A car bomb.
There.
Gavin comes closer and can't understand how he did it, but he did it, all back in the right place.
Wait.
Unbelievable.
There. Now, I'd like to see where the shots were fired from.
Scene change inside the hotel, a vacant room that looks under renovation. The police are investigating every corner of the room. It's well lit as Adrian Monk goes around to soak up the clues. He holds out his hand and sizes up the situation. The captain looks at him and begins following his footsteps in awe. Randy, and a female police officer are observing from the open doorway.
What's that he's doing?
I love this part. He does this Zen Sherlock Holmes thing.
He used to draw string to steady his shot. I've seen it before in the field manual for the Green Berets, Special Forces.
It's possible.
Captain, could you grab this? It'll just take a minute.
He holds up the string for the blinds for him. He then points a stick on the floor. The captain retrieves it. He positions it in the string and pretends to aim his makeshift rifle down on the museum from the window several stories below.
Hold this up like a rifle.
Right.
How tall are you?
6 feet.
No, really.
5'11".
Our guy was taller. 6'3", maybe 6'4", just like Santa Clara.
Just like what?
The homicide in Santa Clara. We've been consulting on it.
I read about that. It's a completely different MO. You think there's a connection between this guy? This guy might be tall. Lieutenant, get the warriors on the line. I want to talk to Adrian Jameson. He seems to have gotten an alibi for Thursday morning.
Now the captain is being sarcastic, but Disher nearly runs out the door to follow his orders.
Captain, do you know the percentage of men over 6'3"?
No, do you?
Of course. Maybe 0.5. The odds of 2 men in this city in that category committing premeditated murder within 2 days of each other are astronomical.
Captain is fast losing his faith in Adrian.
All because of a twisted Venetian blind cord. Thanks, Monk. Monk, that's a stretch, even for you.
That, and he wore slippers.
He sniffs the curtains.
And he smokes Newports.
The captain begins to snicker, then laughs.
Ha 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 ha. That isn't police work. This isn't police work. This is...
Vaudeville.
Vaudeville. Thanks, guys.
He's already killed two...
As he starts to debate it further, he casually leans over and glances out the window. The moment he does, he realizes how far up he really is. His knees turn to jello, and he grabs the windowsill for support. Sharona runs to his side and moves her arm around his waist to steady him. She walks quietly past the frustrated captain and his lieutenant as they walk quickly out of the room, their arms around one another.
My body says yes.
Scene change. Gavin Lloyd's main offices for the Warren St. Clair campaign. It's buzzing with activity. There are people on phones, making calls, computers everywhere, and banners and posters lining every wall. Amongst these people is Jake, one of the volunteers showing Adrian and Sharona over to his computer.
My Sharona.
Who's Jake? Explain Jake.
Oh, right there. Yes. Oh. VASQUES, Nicole Vasquez.
Jake types it into his computer as they observe him as the words scroll across the screen. Adrian looks a bit queasy, but pulls himself together. Jake smiles up at them in a friendly way.
I don't know her, but that doesn't mean anything. I've only been here a couple days, but let's see. Well, she's not a volunteer, and she's not on staff, sorry.
Jake, my name's Adrian Monk. Here's my card. If you think of anything, you give me a call.
Okay, sure.
Scene change inside a local cathedral. There's a funeral taking place for Jason Ronstadt, no relation to Linda. His family and friends are there, as well as Warren St. Clair's group. In the pews, sit Miranda and Jesse listening to the service. Warren is up front giving a heartfelt eulogy. Up in the balcony section, Adrian and Maya are observing the ceremony. Outside, the church bells toll. Jason is laid out in an ornate coffin up at the front of the church.
Well, what does a man say about a friend who took a bullet that was meant for him? When I heard Jason had passed...
This guy is too good to be true.
Maybe he's a decent man. Isn't that possible?
And then I talked to Risa, Jason's mother, and she reminded me that her son was no quitter. Let me tell you, no quitter.
You know what I think? I think he did it.
Who?
St. Clair. You can't buy this kind of publicity.
See it through, why begin at all?
I don't think this case and the girl in Santa Clara are connected somehow. Oh, I think this case and the girl in Santa Clara are connected somehow. As Adrian talks, he begins rifling through his pockets for something.
So who?
Someone who knew them both. Someone,
What are you doing?
Do you have my keys? I can't find my keys. Did you put them in your bag?
I don't touch your keys, because if I touch your keys, you'd freak out. Calm down.
John Donne said, the democracy of death.
Adrian, just stop it. Just a second.
Everyone who knew Jason remembers him and loves him. Let's remember Jason as he was.
Suddenly, there's a look of relief on Adrian's face as he finds the keys in his coat pocket, right where he left them. Sharona is by now thoroughly pissed.
I got them. Okay, I got them right here. Okay, such a relief, you know.
Adrian begins to casually twirl them on the end of his finger. As to be expected, they fly up into the air and neatly fall into Jason Ronstadt's open coffin below. They are lying next to the dead man's hand. Sharona covers her eyes. Adrian peers over the edge of the balcony. All we see is his frantic face.
In a few seconds, we will be closing the casket.
Adrian nearly jumps over the side of the balcony after them until Sharona reaches over to restrain him. He's making a scene.
Adrian, it's okay. We'll make new ones. Just relax. It's okay.
It's the keychain. The keychain. It was Trudy's.
Adrian tries to reach across Sharona for a nearby paperclip off of one of the church flyers. Sharona bats his hand away in frustration.
Just give it to me.
No.
Jason showed up every Sunday.
Sharona.
You are going straight to hell.
I am in hell.
Now Adrian retrieves the handy container of dental floss from his pocket. Sharona gives him another angered look. He pauses, goes back to work. Like MacGyver, he makes a little fishing rod out of the flyer and preparing to rescue his keychain below. Sharona can't look at him. She's humiliated.
May his loving spirit live forever. Why don't we take a moment and meditate silently?
Everyone lowers their eyes in the congregation. As they do, we see the little floss descend in front of us with Adrian's trusty makeshift paperclip. Slowly it descends into the casket. Adrian maneuvers it around until with success it hooks onto something. Unfortunately, that something is Jason Ronstadt's color.
Now, old friend, we turn and salute you one last time.
Everyone stands and raises their hand toward the coffin in salute. Suddenly, Adrian jerks the floss up, and so it appears Jason has just raised his own arm to do the same to the onlookers. Several women scream and gasps are heard. A family member nearly faints. Scene change. Moments later, outside the church, several angry family and friends leave. Miranda appears on her husband Warren's arm. Jesse is at their side.
We gotta pull that car around. He's ready to go up.
Suddenly, Adrian jumps outside the door, possibly being chased by an irate relative shaking her purse at him.
No, we don't.
You should be ashamed of yourself!
Oh,
Do you lie awake at night thinking of ways to disrupt my husband's campaign?
No, ma'am. I lay awake trying not to think at all.
Now, Miranda, it will be all right. Hell, for a minute I thought I had a new campaign slogan. Vote for St. Clair, he can raise the dead. Where's the boy?
here, sir.
Make sure Miranda gets home, will you?
Of
Be
course.
ashamed to lose her. Yes, thank you.
Of course.
Adrian runs up behind the preoccupied Miranda St. Clair and stops them.
Mrs. St. Clair, a couple of questions.
Let me ask you a question. How can you be expected to help my husband? I hear you're afraid of heights, crowds, and milk.
Sharona steps up to the Ice Queen and defends her friend.
We're working on the milk. He's making good progress on milk.
Mrs. St. Clair, I sense that you're a little upset. But I can tell you why I dropped my keys. I've been a bit preoccupied with another case. A girl was murdered in Santa Clara. Nicole Vasquez. Do you know her?
Now.
So Adrian tries a different tact. He runs after Warren St. Clair and gets his attention. He shows him a picture of Nicole as well. There are reporters hovering around St. Clair. He answers Adrian's questions while smiling to them.
Sir?
No.
Sir, did you know her? Nicole Vasquez.
No, should I?
No reason you should. Excuse me.
Jesse.
Ma'am, if you could just take another look. Nicole Vasquez.
I don't know anyone by that name. What I do know is if my husband is elected mayor, you will never work in this town again.
Let's go.
Are you registered to vote?
I never vote. It only encourages them. Let's get out of here. She makes me sick.
Do you know how much she's worth?
No.
150 million.
Here?
They were talking about it on the radio. That's a lot of motive.
Yeah, it is.
He calls out to
Are
Adrian.
you-
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
Still watching Miranda in the limo, blinking the pelting rain from his eyes.
Are you trying to kill yourself?
Maybe.
Scene change. Back at the SFPD precinct. Adrian and Sharona are sitting in chairs next to one of the offices in the middle of the station's busy workroom. The phones are ringing. Several plainclothes officers are going about their business. Sharona's hair is down, and it looks like the rain got the better of it. Oh. Adrian sits nervously next to her. He casually starts playing with his keys. Rawr. Before Sharona puts her hand...
Hi, Sharona.
You know what I'm saying. Before Sharona puts her hand on his arm to stop him, in walks... Oh gosh, that went really south very quickly. In walks Stottlemyre, eyeing the pair warily.
Hold on. I gotta catch my breath because you're making me laugh. Miranda St. Clair called the mayor personally. You couldn't just buy another keychain?
Fruity gave it to him. It's irreplaceable.
Disher.
Captain, we just got the forensic report back.
Mm.
Yeah, we caught a lucky break. One was still intact. They ID'd the weapon. It's a Weatherby fiber mark rifle.
Which is British.
It's British.
Long range, preferred by mercenaries and paramilitary groups.
That's right. He's right.
Well, start with a list of weapons and ammunition sales.
Yes, sir.
Could you check that against Nicole Vasquez?
Who?
The homicide in Santa Clara.
Sir, you're 10 o'clock?
The cases don't overlap, Monk. She worked for the DMV. That's her first mistake. She was a candidate for the mayor. She was behind on her rent. He has houses all over the world. He was stabbed. She was shot. Let it go. Oh.
Are we gonna let it go?
Hell no.
What are we gonna do now?
We're gonna follow the money. Yes. Oh, I've always wanted to say that.
Scene change at a kindergarten. Miranda St. Clair is reading to the kids a fairy tale. It's primarily a publicity stunt. Cameras and people circle the kids sitting on the floor around Miranda's feet. Adrian and my Sharona are watching at a safe distance. Is that getting old yet? Let it ride. Adrian is off by himself, sandwiched between a reporter and another person. He observes the kids coughing and sneezing around him to great consternation.
The queen bee said to the royal doctor, I'm so worried about the prince. She has all the emeralds and rubies and riches.
Adrian notices another kid coughing nearby and tries to move back at a crowd out of the direct Sharona airspace. Sharona is smiling at some of the cops near her, and then she spots Adrian, but she's too far away to help him.
In the kingdom, but she never laughs. Who can make the princess laugh? They
More kids
called
start coughing.
the congestion.
Adrian, in fear, does the only thing he can. He takes the sweater he's wearing and lifts it up over his nose, buttoning it to protect himself. He takes a seat near the wall, right next to a little blonde-haired kid.
The court jester, as everybody knew, was the silliest and funniest court jester that there ever was. With a jingle and a jangle, he rolled into the court. Jester, said the queen, the princess has forgotten how to laugh. What
Adrian
shall
looks
I
over
start,
at
he
the
asked.
little boy beside him. His eyes grow wide with fear as the little boy begins to pick his nose. He is voiceless to stop him.
Just then the princess entered the court, and everybody fell silent. Now is as good as time as any, she said.
More kids start coughing.
The jester turned and greeted the princess. And he bowed, and he rolled end over end, and when he stopped, the flowers appeared in his...
Suddenly, the little boy lifts his snotty finger up to his mouth. Adrian jumps up in horror, shielding his eyes and banging into a child's painting tacked to a wall behind him. It falls on him. Scene change. Sharona gives Adrian a wipe, and he wipes the brow and throat with it. He's calmed down considerably now after the terrifying kid incident. They stand in front of the children's desk. The room is quiet now. Everyone has left, but Miranda St. Clair comes in from a side door. She doesn't look too pleased to be there. The school bell rings. Scene change. A park in the rain. Stottlemyre and Disher are examining the clues of a car that has apparently run off the side of the road. Adrian and Mai are standing on top of the hillside. They refuse to come down to talk to the cabin, who is barely able to stand, and Disher using a rope not to fall down the side of the parking lot below.
He wasn't wearing a hat.
What are you doing? Come down. Come on down. The accident scene's down there.
He's not wearing the right shoes today.
Not wearing the right shoes today. The port authority is calling it an accident. It's a single car accident.
No. This was no accident. There's no skid marks on the road.
Oh, it's wet. You're not the only detective here, Monk. I checked for skid marks. It happens all the time on this hill. You hit this curve at 85, 90 miles an hour. Sir? Boom!
No. This was staged. He was killed somewhere else.
Maybe you should tell me where the murder took place. That would be very helpful.
Cole Avenue and 17th Street.
How could you possibly know that?
We were meeting at my house. He probably took Cole. I'm thinking he was killed at that little stop sign on 17th Street.
Why 17th?
There's a homeless shelter there. I'm thinking somebody approached the car, started washing the window, and then attacked him. You can see the windshield even better from here.
Oh. Go check the windshield.
Adrian? Excuse me, officer.
Oh, son of a bitch.
Adrian, this officer is gonna drive you home, okay? Thank you. Behave yourself. He's armed.
What? Wait. Where are you going?
I have a date. I told you about it.
Oh, I thought you were joking.
You thought I was joking? Why? You don't think I could possibly have a date?
No, I didn't mean that.
What is so funny about me dating, Adrian?
Nothing. Sorry, it's Tuesday. It's chicken pot pie night.
Don't be such a baby. My 11-year-old kid can bake a chicken pot pie. I'll see you later, okay?
Scene change. Inside Adrian Mark's apartment, he has a small TV going on in his kitchen counter and is half watching it while talking to someone on the phone. His hands are cloaked in rubber gloves and he's wearing a blue apron as he's getting set to prepare his dinner. Benji is on the other end.
Okay. Slow down 1 second. All right. Then you said 2/3 of a cup. 2/3.
We see Sharona's apartment. Benji is on a computer in the living room. Suddenly his mom, ready for her night on the town, comes up and takes the phone from his hand.
Who are you on the phone with?
No one?
Give me the phone. Monk, is that you? Okay, I'm hanging up now. And don't call back. Benji's got homework. Lots of it.
Don't hang up. No, Benji, call me back.
Scene change. Interior of a fancy restaurant. Sharona is there with her mate, Carl. They are discussing her frustration working with Adrian Monk. She looks animated as they chat over a glass of white wine and a pleasant music plays behind them.
Bow, 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 bow.
He sounds sort of viable.
Oh, it's the worst job I've ever had.
Yeah? So why don't you quit?
Well, because it's also the best job I've ever had. I'm having adventures. I can't believe it. I'm putting bad guys behind bars. I feel like, what's her name? Superman's girlfriend.
Oh, Lois Lane.
I mean, how many practical nurses can say that? Not many.
You see, that looks so fine on you.
Oh my gosh.
What, the dress?
It goes back and forth.
The smile one?
Yeah, I think it's her
Sorry.
line. Oh, okay.
It's a
Thank
little
you.
messed up.
5, 6. This is kind of weird.
You.
Something's lost here.
Guys,
Yeah.
I don't understand what is happening in the dialogue.
Uh-oh.
Oh, great.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
The more I scroll, the worse it gets.
Whoa.
Oh, great. The whole
Well, we could
format.
call it quits
there's
for this
no
for
way of
tonight.
knowing who says who. Oh, man.
Oh, God bless.
That's okay. We'll take a break from here at this point and return.
Josh,
to Nightmare.
there's no returning from that. It's so unorganized.
Yeah, the last little bit has no. Has no
I can't
direction
even
or
tell
anything.
what's going on.
I have no
Right,
idea.
I thought it was just the dialogue between Carl and Sharon.
I did too.
Yeah.
Well, I
It's
think there's a
going.
phone call or he shows up.
Oh, crap.
That's my guess.
Crap. It was
He's probably coming there to ask for directions.
Here's what happened. Whoever started transcripting this gave up. That's what happened. 'Cause there was
Yeah.
like somebody in front of it, and then they just decided, oh, you know what? All I need to do is just write down the dialogue, because no one's gonna read this anyway. It's like, well, somebody was gonna read it, I guess.
Well, that was fun.
So that was a lot of fun, though. Now I really want to watch the end of the episode and see what happens.
Do you
I'm really
guys-
disappointed.
Oh, that
And,
was a
like, do you
great
wanna-
show.
Do you want to search for?
I'm frantically
another
doing that
copy?
as we speak. I'm
And then we
frantically.
can try to pick up where we left off.
I'm
maybe?
frantically
I'm not
doing
bad.
this right now, man. I'm like, yeah, you have no idea what's going on my end. Oh.
If
Did you
not,
stop?
if we
Go ahead, I'm
can't
sorry.
find the rest of it, then I feel like we did get a good chunk of the way through. Like
We did
maybe
get a good chunk of it, yeah.
if we can't, we can do the rest of it when we find another copy, maybe.
I don't know if
Yeah,
we're gonna.
I like that.
I would like to. I don't know if we're gonna find it. I'm being honest with you guys. Like, this is one of those things
Well,
where it's.
the good
it's
news
dark.
is we had a lot of fun, and I feel like that was a blast, regardless. And
That
so
was
I think
awesome. Yeah.
that was a lot of fun. Diane, thank you so much for being part of it.
I
That was,
enjoyed it.
Yeah, thank you so
it
much.
was so cool. So much fun.
That was a really good show in its day. It was like unprecedented to come out with something like that.
Yeah.
It's really
It
good.
caught
I like
on
that show.
like really fast. In fact, that guy was an unknown pretty much before then.
There is
He
something
had
we.
done small bit
Yeah,
roles.
Tony Shalhoub.
Yeah.
He was in Galaxy Quest. He
There
was
is-
the one that married the alien at the end.
There is something
Did
we
you know
could. We. Could, I did not know that. There is something we could do, guys. This is unprecedented, but we could
Galaxy
do.
Quest?
No, we could do
Go
an
ahead, I'm
episode.
sorry.
We could do an episode of Frasier. There's 4 of us. There's 4 main characters.
Well, I think I'm running low on steam for this evening, to be honest with you.
Fair
But
enough,
I would
fair
be
enough.
down for I'd be down for something next week. I thought, but if Clayton's back next week, I mean, like we could get double indemnity going. You know,
I would really
And
like
Diane,
that.
if you wanted to do it too, like that'd be awesome. The more the merrier.
1944 noir.
Yeah,
What is it?
Clayton,
It's
double indemnity. It's a film noir.
film noir.
Oh, that is a good movie.
That would be so much fun.
Yeah. Seriously, Ma, you should join us. Definitely.
Yeah,
This was
that
great.
would- that would be
it's a lot of
awesome.
fun.
I think I'm gonna have to. I don't think there's a choice,
I agree.
really.
We're gonna get to get 2 pots of coffee
I mean,
going.
it's obvious how much you need me.
Yes, we do.
You were a great monk. You were a great monk.
Just remember,
Yes.
with Groupery,
You
we're
saved
always hiring.
What's his name? Tony Shalhoub?
Tony Shalhoub.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was great at that role.
Shalhoub.
He was great at
He
that
was.
role.
He was.
So do I.
All right, we're gonna stop broadcasting.